We'd love to hear all of your thoughts on
Justice League?
Justice League. Hello and welcome to SnarkSquad Pod, a media podcast full of friendship, feelings, and snark. My name is Marinez.
I'm Nicole Sweeney.
And today we are joined once again by Sam and Jess.
Hello, my name is Sam Schultz. I am a host of SciShow Tangents and a producer of SciShow, the YouTube channel, and do other complexly things and other things. And you can find me at Slam Schultz on Twitter.
Hello, I am Jessica. I am a consumer and lover of books and movies and TV, and I occasionally do another podcast with some friends of mine where we review horror movies and beer pairings called Macabre Bros, and that's a fun time. You can find us at Macabre Bros on most social media.
And Sam and Jessica are back with us to continue our journey through the DC Extended Universe. And we're going to continue our borrowing of the 60-second plot dump formula. Now, last time, when we did this for the Marvel movies, I think we just picked somebody at random who had to do the endgame synopsis, and that made more sense. But instead, we woke up and chose chaos. And so we're going to do this relay style, baton passing relay style in the same order that we did before. And so we're going to have, I guess, 4 minutes to go through the plot of Justice League. Oh, I should have led with that. We're talking about Justice League. I mean, you should have seen in your feed that that's what this is. So we're talking about Justice League. And so Mari's going to start and have 60 seconds to get through some amount of it. And then Sam's going to pick it up. And then I'm going to pick it up. And then Jessica's going to pick it up. This is an experiment. We're trying something. I expect this experiment to fail. I'm going to be honest with you guys. But we're doing it anyway because it seems fun.
It's going to be amazing.
So 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so we start the movie with camera footage of Clark Kent, Superman, and it's being recorded by 2 kids, presumably, and they're interviewing him just after, I don't know, I guess he says some people, and the kids are asking him questions that are, little kid questions, and then they finally ask what his favorite thing about Earth is, and he just looks off to the side and is pensive, and then the footage cuts off, and this has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the movie. However, that is how this starts. Sometime later in Gotham City, we see like a guy who is committing a crime. This is going great. He's doing a robbery, and Batman shows up and starts fighting him, and then basically just like hangs him over the roof, and the guy's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, I need your fear. And a creature comes out of nowhere and attacks this guy, also feeding on his fear, and then Batman beats him and then is like, "Aha, these are the creatures that are showing up everywhere." Wow, that was barely nothing.
You got 4 minutes into the movie.
That was barely anything. I tried to go so fast.
Oh, no. I was mentally prepared to start so much later than this.
Well,
man.
I mean, Sam, you can do whatever. You can just skip.
Okay.
It's really up to you. But whatever you decide, make your decision now because it's your turn in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, well, so the thing that Batman gets is a parademon who turns out to be like a scout of an alien invasion that's starting. So then it shows a bunch of superheroes doing their superhero stuff, so you remember who they are. Then this army of parademons led by, God, what's his name? Beowulf? No. Steppenwolf. They come from space or whatever.
Beowulf would have been better.
And they start stealing these cubes that are called mother boxes from the Atlanteans and the Wonder Woman people. I can't remember what they are called, the Amazonians. And these boxes are ancient super weapons that destroyed the world a long time ago, but everybody came together in the ancient world to fight off this alien invasion, and they hid the boxes around the world. So now he's looking for them so he can turn the world into a different, like terraform the world. Oh my God.
3.
Oh no, that's from last time. That's Man of Steel. Wait, I need 10 more seconds.
It's the same. It's fine.
I need 10 more seconds. Lois Lane is still sad. Cyborg has one of the mother boxes inside of him. And that's where I'll stop.
Oh God.
Amazing.
Okay, wait, I'll say one more thing. Then Batman decides he's got to put a team together. There, how's that?
Oh yeah, that's a
There we
good.
go.
Yeah.
Nice setup.
Thank you
Yeah.
for that, Sam. I'll allow it mostly because I didn't know where the fuck I was supposed to start. So thanks for that amazing handoff. So Batman has decided to put a team together to defeat Beowulf, and he has the Lex's file, so he knows the team. He's got to go find Wonder Woman. So his first stop is to go up north and to go find Jason Momoa.
Aquaman.
Aquaman. So he goes to find Jason Momoa, and Jason Momoa is like, no, I don't, I'm by myself. And so then he says no. And then they find Cyborg, and he also says no because he feels sad. But then he finds Barry Allen, the Flash, who is also sad and kind of lonely, but he says yes because he's lonely. And then, oh my God, Jessica.
It's hard. It's so hard.
But then eventually bad stuff happens and everybody who said no suddenly says yes. That's it.
Oh my Lord. No, this is great. This is fine.
Everyone has said yes now. That we don't need to explain how or why they suddenly
The team
say
is
yes.
together,
The team is
right?
together.
Take it from there.
Bring us home with most of the movie in 3,
Great.
2, 1, go.
All right, so with the team all together, the next thing that happens is the bad guy gets everything he wants with every single box. He beats up the Amazons, the Atlanteans, and the men, and he has the boxes. And so the team then argues about, well, no, before he gets the last box, the team has it, and they decide they need to resurrect Superman. And they argue about it for a long time, and then they do. And Superman comes back, and they fight him because he's confused and angry. And then they show him his girlfriend, and he's not mad anymore. But he still's not going to join them. Steppenwolf gets the last box while they're distracted. And then he starts turning the world into a hellscape. And the heroes go after them with some more talking and arguing and showing off at the Batcave. And then they fight the parademons, and there's some civilians in danger. And then Superman comes at the last minute to fight Steppenwolf, and they fight him and they win. And everyone's happy, I suppose. And they set up the next movie, which who knows if that's going to be a thing.
Nice.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Powerful.
there does come a point in the movie where there is no more plot, and they just start fighting each other, and it happens pretty early.
The first fight is against each other, so I don't know. That's a choice, I suppose. But
I also am not sure if Superman does. I don't feel like he ever consciously makes a decision to not join them. He just goes to Smallville and wants to make out for a while.
Yeah,
And
he
then-
just hangs
Yeah,
out.
that's fair. That's fair. He was dead for a
He
long
was
time.
dead.
And he's like,
He's like,
priorities.
you know what?
And they just left without him, I suppose, and he was late.
Yeah.
Like 15 minutes late, like I am everywhere, so I suppose I could understand that.
Yeah, he's just listening to what they're doing anyway. So
He's like,
Yeah, that's true.
he's like, I don't need the slow ride that you guys, like, I can get there by myself. I got my own ride, okay?
Yeah.
Like, you can go get on your souped up transport.
trust me, I'll catch up.
Well, they kind of assumed that he wasn't coming, though, right? Because they're
Yes.
like, well, we can't get there in time. We can't. And then there's like this awkward pause, like, is anyone going to text him? And nobody did.
nobody
so
ever tries to reach
they're
out
like,
to him
okay.
again after he leaves.
They just assumed he would show up. They didn't hang out with Superman the whole time except for their fight
Oh.
in the end. So, but oh well.
Wow, we are already having feelings. So we're gonna back up here from our very successful, I will say, plot synopsis. I did not think it was going to go that well.
Yeah,
Oh,
that is
wow.
it's not quite the abject failure I was anticipating. I don't know that it was a stunning success, but
We got there. We got there.
And we are going to ask the question we always ask right up at the top, and that is, did you like it? I feel like I can guess. But I'm still going to ask, guys, did you like this movie?
I nothinged this movie, I think, more than anything. No, I didn't like it. What Superman vs. Batman is a profoundly unpleasant movie to watch, but it evokes something inside of you that this movie just doesn't do. And it's starts out like it's gonna try to do that with the opening credits, where it shows you the guy who's sitting on the street with that sign that says I tried. There's a hate crime happening in the opening credits, so at first you're like, this is gonna just be like Batman Superman, where it's really heavy-handed the whole time and they're moralizing and preaching about stuff, but they just are standing around talking to each other for the whole movie basically.
I didn't actively hate this movie the way I actively hated my time during Batman versus Superman or Man of Steel. But yeah, I didn't like it either.
But isn't it more fun to actively hate something to a certain degree?
Yes.
Yeah.
This one was pretty forgettable. There were moments, but it had no heart. I don't know. It just, like, I watched it on Friday and I'm forgetting stuff already. That's not a good sign. Either about me or the movie.
I also did not enjoy it. I didn't particularly enjoy it in the theater, but there were things that I remembered liking that I did not this time. Like I got closer to like experiencing like genuine active dislike for this movie this time around because I was let down by the small like pieces of joy that I had promised myself existed. And then every time they missed the mark, I was like, God damn it. So
was The Flash one of those things that you remember liking?
By those things, I mostly mean that in the theater, I genuinely enjoyed all of his stuff. Like that, it was fun. It was the one redeeming thing about this movie, and I was just so disappointed.
Yeah.
It's still probably the best part of the movie, actually. It just wasn't quite what I thought.
I am feeling the same in that the actual watching experience was not the worst one that I've had. However, like, this is not a good movie, and I feel like in retrospect I will have like the same amount of bad things to say about this one than I have about like Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad. But like sitting and watching it, the experience was not as bad. It is just a bunch of nothing that washes over you. And I in fact, like I was watching the beginning and I was like, this is not that bad. And I know part of it is that my expectations were so low, but then it hit like this critical mass of nothing. And then I was like, oh no, like get me out of here. But there were still hours to go.
This one is relatively short compared to other ones.
Only comparatively.
Yeah.
It still suffers from the same truth of all of these movies, even the one good one, which is that none of them need their runtime. Not a single movie that we have watched so far for this project needs its runtime.
I don't even know how to like attack this conversation necessarily, and I feel like it's going to be about as chaotic as the movie. And typically my first thing is like, okay, go characters, but I think we need to go plot here.
Yeah.
I think we need to talk plot. And we'll see because it was a lot of
3
nothing.
minutes later we can talk about characters.
Correct. So let's start with the plot. How did you guys feel about the plot and the sort of way that I don't know, I felt that it ambles along, that it was a lot of nothing. Did you guys have any different feelings than that?
I do. I mean, I don't have different feelings. I think it's interesting that you said that the beginning of it was more fun than the end of it, because the beginning of it has the same kind of like super baroque, very confusing, who's doing this and why are they doing this plotting that Batman vs Superman has. And I think that is just more fun for like the human brain to watch for some reason than just like a bunch of people standing in the Batcave screaming at each other. Batman figuring out the mystery of the parademons is a little bit interesting, and like them telling the history of the mother boxes is a little bit interesting, but then there is no conclusion. Like then after they figure out all the answers to their questions, all they can do is just stand around and say, well, we're gonna go get our asses kicked for like an hour, and then they just go do the thing.
I think that's fair. I think the other part of it, like apart from just like, you know, that maybe some of those isolated beginning stories were better than when they were all together being useless together. It's that, you know, it hasn't answered any questions yet, so you still are receiving information. And so when we saw a few of those things, like, you know, Batman trying to figure out what this parademon is, and then you have the whole heist thing with Wonder Woman, which was that was better cool. than the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just, if that were the single mission, like that was actually really tense, and I was like, oh no, the children. So like I still didn't have enough information where I was like, oh, this is bad. Like the plot hadn't come together. So I was seeing the pieces and I was like, oh, this isn't terrible. But then it just became like, these boxes are called mother boxes, and okay. And then I was like, oh, okay, wait, no, the pieces are not coming together in a satisfying way. And then the middle of this movie, it was I don't know. It was so nothing. It just loses its own like thread. It loses its own storytelling in a way that is really interesting. It was so vague. It really is the word that I would use to describe the plot in some ways. So,
well, there's one point when Cyborg just gets downloaded all the information he needs to know to make the decision to go, like, his brain just tells him that Batman is Bruce Wayne. So that is how the plot moves along at one point. Or like they drop the mother box on the ground and they fight Superman and they just forget that it's there.
They just forget that like the most important thing for them to protect.
Yeah.
It happens in the background. Steppenwolf takes the third piece that he needs to destroy everything, and it happens as like a far off background.
No, you don't even see his hands grab it or anything.
No.
He just teleports away.
And going away, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
They're like, oh shit, we lost the box, guys. Remember the box?
Remember the box. And there were a few moments like that where I was like, okay, nobody in the writer's room like asked the appropriate questions. Like, for instance, if we're going to use the box, the third box, to destroy the world, to resurrect Superman, like, obviously the bad guy is going to come. Like, what do we do about that? Like, nobody asked that question. And then there were smaller things, like when Superman comes back and they're all fighting him, and he's like destroying a war memorial.
Oh my God. That was so awkward. Distressing, because the war memorial that he is destroying is clearly, it's like inspired by the Vietnam War war memorial in DC, and that like it's the names of the fall, like it's the names of all the civilians who died during the last big superhero fight. And so there's this like weird like meta bit to that, except like the movie doesn't acknowledge, but like the superheroes are like smashing the memory of all of the civilians that they that some of them that like they're kind of a little bit responsible for killing, the way in which they go about saving the world. But like nobody notices or cares that's what's happening, that's what they're doing. And it's wild because it's entirely constructed. Why put this fight? You made that monument up for this movie. Why the fuck did you have to put this fight on that monument? Like, why?
I think it's possible that it was like a line in the Zack Snyder version of the script that like in his version of that fight, Superman would have like destroyed it. There'd be like smoke and dust billowing out and like lots of really heavy-handed shots of like their names crumbling and stuff. But then Joss Whedon just was like, oh, he just smashes it up. Okay.
Well, he had to smash something, and I think they didn't want civilians except that one random police officer in there. And they're like, why not these memorials? He'll just like symbolically kill them instead of actually kill them. I don't know if it was intended or not, but it did not play well.
It didn't feel intentional. It felt like accidental commentary, and that is not. It's not a great look.
The whole plot felt accidental.
Yes.
None of it felt intentional. And that was kind of why I put this, like, that moment in this category of, like, did the writers ask questions? Because there didn't seem to be a lot of, like, intentionality there at all. It just kind of, it felt like the movie, I don't know, it was dragging its characters along in a certain sense. Like, it didn't feel like a lot of forward motion and agency on behalf of the characters. We were all just along for this ride, honestly, and it turned out to be a really boring one. So
that part does give Superman the opportunity to throw his own big giant head at everybody else, though. Which
well, the character motivations were too simple, I think, which was literally just stop the bad guy, and they didn't dig any deeper than that. And I think that's why those little previous vignettes were more interesting, because we're learning something about them, and we're learning who is Aquaman, who is Cyborg and Barry. And then the movie is just like, well, we got to do this, and we got to stop the bad guy. Like they literally dragged these other people in, and were like, I guess we're gonna do this thing. Like they were so uninspired about saving the world that it was boring to watch.
You have to get the team together because we have to like defeat the bad guy. But the thing is, I mean, yes, why Batman feels that a man whose only power is being rich, needs to get a team of superpowered people together to go defeat this apocalyptic bad guy. Sure, correct. But why did anybody else make the choices that they made? Cyborg and Aquaman especially, their like reluctance and then acceptance was just like, well, you have to say no first. because
Right.
because we need more beats in this plot.
This movie needs to be a little bit longer, please.
Yeah, clearly. And the thing is that, like, in any, like, we have to get the team together story, sure, there's going to be, like, some roadblocks. Some people
Right.
are going to say no. But, like, sitting here thinking about it, I think Suicide Squad did a better job of answering the secondary character motivations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, one got, Will Smith had a kid. Everybody wanted lower prison sentences. Like, Harley wanted to find Joker.
They
Everybody
have bombs
had
in their heads.
bombs in their heads, right? You're literally gonna die. So that movie did a better job building in the actual, like, personal motivation for getting the team together, where this one was just like, nah, I don't feel like it. Okay, I guess the world's gonna end, so now I feel like it. And it just, that's not compelling.
And like the big moment for Aquaman, especially when they're going to the fight, is like compelled by the lasso of truth and doesn't actually have anything to do with the fight that they're going to go do or anything like that. And his reason for doing it in the first place is that some lady underwater told him that he just had to go do it.
Right. We have no idea why lady
Oh.
is important. And she was like, you must. And he was like, okay, give me a
fine.
toy. And
Which is like very inconsistent with the brief introduction that we previously got to this man, that like he would be like, okay, well, the underwater lady told me I had to, so now I guess I will.
Yeah.
I also, in terms of the like nonsensical plot motivations, there's, I guess this is sort of venturing into the character stuff, but the entirety of the way in which they have warped Wonder Woman's character from movie to movie, like the absurdity that is the "I've left humanity for 100 years" line at the end of Batman v Superman, completely fucking contradicted by the way that Wonder Woman ends.
Mhm.
And then like this movie picks back up from like that other energy, and it's just like Wonder Woman is the last movie before this one. Like that's the thing that we, like, if you were to sit down and watch these all in rapid succession, you finish with Wonder Woman and she's like hanging out in the basement of the Louvre looking real happy. So
Yeah.
I don't understand how this woman is meant to be the thing that Justice League is trying to tell me that she is. And it's particularly frustrating, going back to kind of the plot piece of this. The reason that this annoys me for like plot reasons is that it's clear that they decided that Batman has to be the one to get the team together. And so they are like shoehorning him into this role. And then that Batman also has to decide that only Superman can motivate and inspire people. And so they have to do this weird zombie soup, like whatever. All of that has to happen. But like, Wonder Woman is right there. And like the character that she was at the end of the last movie that we saw would absolutely fit both of those sort of core objectives. And in the context of this movie, she is the one who is most frequently, the moments are few and far between, but they're pretty much all hers that are like motivating or encouraging other people. When Batman like pieces out on his suicide mission, everybody looks to her and does whatever the fuck she tells them to, because like that's, but it feels like the movie is dismissing that as like, I don't know, that's just like womanly nurturing that she is doing. That's not leading, which only Batman and Superman can
that's
lead.
Mothering.
Yeah. So he's just doing mothering. Like,
I feel like it would have been better if maybe they had shown why they need Superman, because we never saw them fight Steppenwolf. We saw the Amazons on their own, the Atlanteans on their own fighting, so we know he's strong, but like those four didn't fight him and fail and realize, shit, we need a fifth guy. They're just like they fought Superman before they fought the bad guy. And so I just wonder if that maybe would have made more sense to like, because the way they are, like, why would they need Superman? We don't really get an answer, a satisfying answer in my opinion.
They actually fight him relatively well in the under Gotham Harbor. Like, they only lose because the wall gets blown up and they have to get out of there.
That's true. Oh, I forgot that part.
Well, that part is completely pointless.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, see, and I forgot that. That's not my fault.
Right.
They needed them to be somewhere with water so Aquaman could come save them.
Oh, and Batman's whole thing is, again, like the reason is it's not just like, oh, we can't defeat him. It's like we like need him for like moral and emotional reasons or whatever. But like it's the team that does it. Like they're together. They're together getting Superman. So like even that like bit of a reason that we are given, it's not anything.
Don't they all kill Steppenwolf anyway and not Superman? Isn't Superman just hanging out doing the cube
He shows
thing?
up, he helps a little bit, but I don't know. Superman also, like, the first thing that he does when he gets there is is help with the family. Help, or no, the Flash does the family and he does the building.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my like character grievance that goes into a plot thing, and it is about Superman. Nobody is surprised because, you know, me, Superman fan. So the whole thing with Superman to me is that it is the same thing as Wonder Woman, that the last few movies told us a certain thing about this character, and then this movie came in and was like trying to tell us a different thing. And this movie was trying to convince us that the world was so sad that Superman died, that this like great darkness came over the earth, enough to like summon Steppenwolf and like, this is your time, because, you know, everybody was so demoralized because Superman was dead. When like the last few times we saw him, people were like, alien, kill the alien.
People hated Superman.
Like, people hated him, or they were unconvinced about him. And I understand that people, like, after he would be gone, the people would be like, ooh, we did bad. But honestly, hate crimes are on the rise and homelessness because Superman is gone. Like that did not fit the narrative story that they told us about Superman previously. So then to introduce this and be like, oh, the world is so dark right now, Superman's gone, and then kind of have that be the reason they bring him back, but not really, because they don't really cement that enough or like hammer that point home that they need him because the world is dark. It becomes like a team morale thing, which also doesn't make sense. And then what you end up having is a character that is too strong, that you have to get out of the scene for stupid reasons. He can clearly kill this guy instantly, like easily. And he's like, hold on, civilians. And he just flies away. And I was like, honestly, that's how you're going to do this scene right now, is just have him like fly away and bring a building and then come back and be like, I'm back to kill him easily again. I was not.
Well, then he gets conked out by the boxes for a while too.
And they play it for a laugh.
Yeah.
So I mean, which was one of the genuine LOLs that I had. I was like, okay, that's a laugh, but also this plot is a laugh. This ending is a laugh. There are no stakes. There are absolutely no stakes here.
Yeah, the world plunged into darkness without Superman thing is like particularly absurd, because it's like the sadness, the mourning that we are shown at the end of Batman v Superman is more like there's like a martyr thing going on there, but it's not this symbol of hope that we had long held being sucked away from us. The symbol of hope is basically generated upon the moment of his death. Those two things essentially go hand in hand. That he died and we're like, oh, okay, no, he's definitely good. He was good. I mean, he's dead, but he was good. So not like, oh man, we had this hope that was all the years that Superman was helping us and we believed in him. And now that's lost. Like it's not there.
I think it goes back to also like, because of the way that Superman is used and like the you see how powerful he is at the end. I think that it kind of depicts the other's strengths and powers sort of unevenly, because there are moments that I'm like, oh, Wonder Woman can take him. But then for whatever, the plot was holding her back, basically. So it didn't feel, again, genuine. It just felt like, I don't know, like we were just going through the motions, because this is the moment where the bad guys fail. And this is the moment where the bad guys win. And that felt like the only reason things went the way that they went. I didn't entirely believe like, oh man, he really got one over on Wonder Woman and Aquaman. They just kept attacking him, and then I don't know. It was so nothing. I guess that's as good a part as any. I mean, we've been talking about characters throughout, but we can kind of double back here and talk about the team and the performances as well, because I still stand by the idea that the DCEU movies are well cast, and it just makes me feel so bad for everybody involved in them. So let's, we haven't really said much about Batman. Ben Affleck as Batman.
He's happier in this one.
Yeah, he's also so counter to what we saw him as last time, I guess. I mean, he's really happy in this one, though. He's like making jokes and stuff.
Joyful. And
he's
I was
really
like,
turned
should
his
they have
life
killed
around.
Superman sooner? Like, he's really having a decent time of it. I mean,
All of his weird, like, I don't know, old man-y jokes were fine, but they didn't feel like they had anything to do with this movie. Or, again, what we have been introduced to of this character prior to this moment.
Yeah.
As you said, it's perfectly, like, well cast. He's Ben Affleck is doing his best with what he's being given. It's just that he's not really being given anything.
Yeah, Batman has huge dad energy in this movie, and when he redesigns his batsuit and he has like Oakley sunglasses on his batsuit, it's like cracking bad jokes,
which is fine, but like is not the version of Batman that we were previously introduced to, and this whole like expanded universe thing that they're trying to do like requires that. Like that's there's no. You could have put literally any other actor into this. You could have replaced all of the actors, and then this is your Justice League movie. Like the only reason that you have this, this actor continuity is because in theory there should also be character continuity, and there just is not. There none of these movies do not seem to be in any real conversation with one another.
Right, and the bad thing is that I liked this Batman better. I was like, all right, I'm here for the dad energy, but also I couldn't fully enjoy it because I was like, you're like a different Batman, and so it made me think a lot about like the big problem with the DCEU, and it's that they're in the middle. They started badly, and how do you fix this? Because even if you are trying to course correct with some characters, what you're going to create for your viewers is like this disjointed feeling of like, well, this isn't a whole new man. Like I never met this guy, so I just don't know what they do at this point. But also, I liked this version of Batman better.
Yes.
He was much more fun to watch. And he did a good job, like you said. But it was weird because you've got new characters, so why are you changing a constant who we've already seen?
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird choice, where you could have had that levity with someone else.
Yeah. And like Nicole said, why are you trying to force him to take the leadership role when like he knows this lady fought in World War I and like apparently ended all war forever and like learned in her movie that she needed to like depend on other people and couldn't do everything herself. And Henry Cavill forgot how to be Superman, I think, in this movie too. Mm-hmm. His voice was just completely different, and I don't know if that was him trying to be like zombie Superman or something.
I was to say he's not Superman anymore. He's zombie Superman. Sam.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Henry Cavill as Superman. So the only way that I can describe why we even got that fight sequence is like when you wake up and you're confused about what day it is. Is that what happened to Superman? Except for he's Superman, so he made like a huge stink about it. Like, I don't know. But those like, those few minutes with him as like zombie Superman were more well suited to Henry Cavill's like two facial expressions than actually being Superman. Where like during those movies, those moments, I hate evil Superman. Like, it is not for me. But during those moments, I'm like, Henry Cavill could do a good evil Superman. Like, I mean, maybe not good. His evil Superman would be better than his regular Superman.
Yeah. And his smile is very unsettling in this movie. Mm-hmm. Maybe because they CGI'd off his mustache, but I don't think it's always that.
I hate this movie from go because of that stupid fucking cell phone intro that adds nothing, is completely unnecessary, and is so uncanny valley uncomfortable to look at because of the like his CG lip. It's like I hate it. I remember seeing it in the theater and being like, why is this happening? I did not realize like the thing about the mustache until afterward, like when we were talking about it on Real Bad. But like I knew in the theater that something was wrong. Something is weird about that face and I don't like it. But then I was like, okay, like waiting for that to make any sort of sense. And it's not necessary. That moment is there so that we, again, to solidify this whole idea that like, everybody loved Superman and he was a source of hope and yada, 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 whatever. And like, okay, setting aside the fact that I don't buy that based on what has been established prior to this movie, within the confines of this movie, the opening scenes establish that. perfectly fine. There is enough other context that we did not need. They did not need to bring Henry Cavill back to shoot this nonsensical I hate it. I hate it so much. While I was watching it this time, I did have this brief moment where I was like, okay, listen, I have very little hope that the Snyder cut is actually going to be an improvement, but you know what? If he cuts this scene, I'll at least give him a little bit of credit.
So I watched this for the first time, which we didn't cover, but I had never seen this movie before, so I had to watch it like on my home TV. I didn't get a theater experience, and so I had no idea about the CGI. I literally just was looking it up, what you guys were talking about, because I don't know. But it wasn't that I didn't notice, even on my small screen. It was I wasn't going to bring it up because my thoughts were, I find him less attractive in this movie, and I don't know why. So
yeah.
that was a shallow enough cut that I wasn't going to say it. But I'm so glad to know that he had a mustache that he had to keep for a Mission Impossible movie, and he couldn't shave it off. So they CGI'd it off.
He looks great with the mustache too, so he made the right choice.
It's not your fault. None of this is our fault. As viewers, that's what we're learning here.
But what the hell was he gonna say at the end of that scene? His friends? Is that what his favorite part of Earth is? The people of Earth?
Of Amy Adams? Well, we don't have a context of when. He looks happier in that little video than he did in any of his movies also. Because wasn't he broody Superman?
That's correct. We have never seen that Superman either.
Maybe he was smiling and he was going to say, I haven't actually decided yet.
Yeah, I don't know. This place sucks.
That would be in line with his character.
You're all really mean to me. You made me go before Congress and testify about war crimes.
You mentioned Amy Adams briefly, so she's here again, Lois Lane and Clark. The whole sidebar where they fly over to Kansas to just make out in a field because he needs to get the sleep lines off his face after being dead or whatever. It was again in the middle of where the other part of the team is about to go confront the bad guy. It was such an anvil in the pacing, because I was just like, why are we still in this cornfield? And there was no good answer. And
but nothing happened. There wasn't there wasn't a point to that scene. There was no forward motion that scene, because he was already fixed from whatever caused him to fight everyone. And then they just make out and they talk.
What do they talk about? I can't remember a single line of dialogue that they had with each other.
Amy Adams says, you would have been so disappointed in me because I wasn't strong.
Oh my God. Right.
That's it. I mean, I will say, I did find those moments moderately affecting, but not in any way that the movie deserves any credit for. I don't know, man. I haven't left my house in a year. And so the idea of somebody's getting back their lover and child respectively, I just that the concept of that. I mean, yes, that was emotionally affecting for me to watch, but I was also at the same time acutely aware of, as Mari said, the anvil in the pace of the plotting that,
right. It was the placement more than, I don't think that we didn't need those scenes if you're going to bring Superman back from the dead. That there is a place for him to be reunited with the characters we've already met in that standalone movie, because we also have an attachment, supposedly. We don't, because, but so there is a place for these things. I just felt like where it was a little awkward, and then also it just kind of reminded me that again, Amy Adams, I don't she's a lovely actress. Her and Henry Cavill have no chemistry whatsoever, and they just keep putting her in these things, and I'm still I don't know who you are. So
and this time they were probably I think they were just on a green screen set, because the cornfield behind him was not really there.
Oh my God.
He probably had a big goofy mustache.
Yep.
She was just doing the best she could.
Picturing a Yosemite Sam now. I can't. And they're Amy, just ignore it. And she's I can't. She's acting. But wasn't his mom also in the city? So did she drive all the way to Kansas? They could have done the reunion in the city. It would have made, it wouldn't have been so his homecoming or whatever. But it was just weird I liked when his mom came. Like, she showed a lot of emotion that we didn't get to see. She had longer to kind of sort of emote over him than Amy Adams did at the end of that fight. So it was a touching scene, but again, grounded in nothing. So it can only do so much.
Or they could have met at the farm and not had the farm foreclosed on by the bank for no reason.
That was so weird. Did Bruce Wayne just like abandon Martha?
Yeah.
Like after that whole thing?
The whole thing was, the whole reason that you feel bad is because his mom's name is Martha. And what the fuck, dude? Like,
if I was Superman, I'd be pissed. Like, dude, you let them foreclose on my mom's house? Like, sure, you'll fix it now.
House when you could just up and buy a bank because you felt like it? Like, what the hell? What the hell?
I know. That was so weird. Bruce, you dropped the ball. Come on.
Yeah. I to everything that you were just saying, Jessica, like, first of all, why any of this took place and when it did, who knows? Like, all of that is a big question mark. They're not really clear about how much time passed. So, like, maybe she could have driven in from the city at some point, because who knows how long they were there. We don't know that information. But also, and Amy Adams is stuck not getting to actually like be in the, okay, I'm Lois Lane, like I'm, you know, like my dead boyfriend has just been resurrected. Because she has plot work that she has to do.
Right.
She has basically two things that she has to do in that moment, which is like, first of all, she has to ask him about being outside. And that's not about her. It's not because she's like, oh, why are you outside? No, she just has to say that so that he can say his thing. And then she has to like, you know, tell him to go, you know, tell him about the next step in his mission. But like all of her whole half of that conversation is so clearly like, okay, well, you need to get him to say something. And in order to get him to say his thing, you got to say this. And then I think he should say something else next. So now you should ask him this. Like, it's just not, there is nothing organic about that moment.
Nicole, you kind of had your big feelings about this already, but just to kind of really round out the cast here, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, motherly Wonder Woman. Sorry.
Hot motherly Wonder Woman. She has two modes. She's the mom, or she's we're making like boob jokes about her. So that's fun. Love that. We love that for Wonder Woman.
Her mini movie at the beginning, like Mari said, that was great. I could have just watched that and been happy.
I was confused about like her speed in that one. I was like, ooh, she's super fast. She is also faster than a speeding bullet. I don't understand.
Yeah, is she the same as Superman? Like, do they have like from a person who doesn't read the comics? Like, it seems it's hard to guess as a person without back knowledge. Like, are their powers the same? Because they both fly, they both jump a lot, they're both super strong.
Yeah, I don't think she's necessarily super fast. In the movies, at least, it seems like she is fast when it comes to blocking bullets, and that maybe has something to do with her gauntlets or something like that. Like she has the power to block bullets quickly, but not to do anything else quickly.
What a weirdly specific power.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, like, as like an avatar of peace or whatever, it kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah,
but also, it doesn't really make sense. I think the comics are kind of the same way. I think she is a little bit like whatever she needs to be able to do at the time, more than a lot of other superheroes are. And her powers change a lot. But I would say no, not super fast. She's just got really fast arms or something.
She's been doing the Taibo.
Okay, but yeah. In that sequence, she's like doing this like I don't know, crawl, like squat crawl thing. So her legs are got it. That's not just the gauntlets. That's in order to get down the line of children.
I don't know. That only activates in the presence of live ammunition, I suppose.
I love Wonder Woman, as we kind of have established in the previous episode, like the character itself. I cannot wait for the day that we can move on from her one thing being, I lost someone I love. Like it is every other line.
Over it.
Every other line. Like so when we're talking about like the character and the performance here, like, great. Yeah, sure. It was Wonder Woman, but also I'm tired.
And she's clearly been alive for like thousands of years, and she knew Steve Trevor for like a week, and he died 100 years ago, and that's it. That's her whole. That's her whole personality.
We don't even see her like reacting to like, I mean, you do get like that moment of she attacks because Beowulf says like, I just killed a bunch of your people, and she like kind of like, oh no. But I mean, she also left all of her people. She left the entire island. Like that is also probably a significant part of your personality, but no, it's always, I lost somebody I love. And I'm like, oh God, come on.
Would have been a great opportunity for her to like go talk to her mom or something, have some kind of conversation with those people again.
Mm-hmm. My sister was asking me while we watched this, can she not go back to the island?
She's banned forever. She gets banned forever in Wonder Woman. They say when she gets on the boat, they're like, if you leave, you can never come back. And she's like, okay. And then she goes. But rude. There's not really a reason for that. Maybe it's a magical reason or something. But
yeah, they say like the Amazons are like trapped on the island. But I mean, except for Diana, who leaves, but I guess she can never come back now, which again would be a significant part of your grief story and your backstory. But the story is like, oh yeah, like all the women who raised you. But anyway, this hot guy, am I right?
Yeah. I mean, her mentor dies in Wonder Woman. Her mentor dies in front of her. I forget the actor's name, but like, that was huge. She raised her from a child.
Yes. Yes. This very important to her, like second mother figure dies right in front of her. And then she is effectively excommunicated from her family later the same day or the next day. I don't know. And then, but none of that is incorporated into like her trauma or her, whatever, her grief.
Essentially because she leaves and the whole thing is like, she's out to be a hero. Like they're like, the people the world needs you, go. And she like goes off on this mission. So for her to then be like, oh, but one person died, I'm going to abandon my mission.
That I gave up my whole life for.
Right. But they did it. It's fine whether you agree with the story, but the fact that they keep hammering it home, like this is the only thing Wonder Woman can do, is I am tired of it. On that lovely and upbeat note, Ray Fisher as Cyborg.
He's just Batman. He's like Batman from the last movie all over again, which is sad for that character because he's like based on the cartoon version more, I'd say, than the comic book version, like the Teen Titans version, who's an extremely like peppy dude who says booyah a lot, because then he says booyah at the end of this movie. He just makes me really sad in this movie. I want someone to be having a little bit of fun, and even Flash can't really have fun because he's too depressed to have fun or whatever, like always just spraining his ankle or something.
And Flash wants so badly to be Cyborg's friend, and if like if they had just let Cyborg be like that character,
his friend.
Yes. Yeah. That I did not know that, but yes, hearing you say that would have made this movie so much better. I mean, it still wouldn't have been good, but it would have done a lot.
Yeah, if you had learned to open up by the end a little bit and be like, okay, now I can go start the Teen Titans or whatever, and have some fun with some people and learn that being a superhero isn't just like a freak show.
If we could have watched that little bromance blossom, just like a new friendship form, that would have been so sweet. Even if everyone else is too broody to get together, that would have been really nice. Yeah.
And then otherwise he just learns plot details magically that are downloaded into his brain and tells everybody what they need to do next, and
starts a fight with Superman. Thanks.
Oh yeah.
I can't control it.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, that plot moment where he cannot control his like weapons, but that never comes up again ever.
There's no precedence, and it never happens again.
But the plot needs it. At that moment. Yeah. So. Great.
All right. And Ezra Miller as Barry Allen, which it kind of goes along with here. But Nicole, you mentioned early that the character, that Flash, was like the bright spot for you in sort of your first watch. So, but that it didn't work as well this time around. So what was the difference, do you think, in viewing experience?
I mean, I still think that the closest I got to being happy was usually around his scenes. I think the fundamental difference is being in a theater versus not being in a theater. Like the thing is that in a room full of people like laughing at all of his jokes, it made them so much funnier. And then it was just me. And I was like, well, are they that funny?
Was that a joke even? Or did he just say the thing the last person said in a funny voice?
And the other thing about it too is that it just felt like he was in a different movie. Almost none of the fault for any of this do I place on the performances. Like I feel like they are performing the thing that is being asked of them. It's just that the thing that is being asked of them is not great. And in the case of The Flash in particular, it's a little bit that the thing is not great, and it's more that it just doesn't fit here. And so I think that if the surrounding tone had been a little bit different, you could have kept some of those exact same jokes in and had them work, but they just felt really jarring in the space of this movie. And it was just disappointing. Just real disappointing. I was that like made me sad this time around.
Oh no.
And I think you can't have like jokes and moments of levity in a darker movie. Like that happens all the time. But there is something to be said for the way that they isolate the character, like you said, like he had like a friend, or if we see more reaction to him from the others, like he said a funny thing, but then other people laughed. Even that would have improved it, like we get the sense that we are all in the same movie together versus that. It just felt like the Flash was often by himself making these snarky comments, and there was no feedback from anybody else in the movie. And so I guess the part where I'm also alone in watching this and there's no feedback from anyone around me, I was like, what is happening? I did not, like, I didn't not enjoy it. I just was like, I didn't laugh a lot. If at all. I was just confused, to be honest.
Yes, because it doesn't fit.
Batman and Wonder Woman are just having plot conversations with each other, trying to ignore all of their annoying friends who are doing wacky things on the fringes.
Who they asked to come here in the first place. No wonder they're grumpy. They're like, dude, you asked us. This could have been an email. Like, it's just... They didn't give them a bone at all. I did laugh at Barry. I was watching with another person. Maybe that helped. But you're right. It didn't fit the tone. Like, I laughed because it was momentarily funny, but he didn't save it, if that's the question. He was cute and funny. I did like how no one told him to disappear from Commissioner Gordon, and he was the only guy standing, and he was like, "Oh, they all left."
That was rude.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
Yes, I like that joke as well.
Would have been so much more impactful if we had ever seen Commissioner Gordon before, or Batman talk to him.
And I thought I was remembering the old Spider-Man's, like, oh yeah, that's the Spider-Man guy. I was like, wait, no, different movie. This is Commissioner Gordon, I guess, but he may as well have been the Spider-Man newspaper guy.
I think they were probably trying to cash in on some of the like recognition of that character as a comic book character, just to be like, oh, I've seen him before.
One of the like few superhero moments that I thought that actually worked well for me, there was a lot of like heavy-handedness, especially when Superman comes in at the end and he's like, I'm justice and truth and blah blah, that didn't feel earned to me. So it's not that I don't like the cheese. I do. I like superhero movies, especially for like those moments of like, big soaring speeches. They just felt unearned. But one moment that I thought was actually effective was when Batman was talking to Flash and he tells him, just go in and save one person. And then he goes, what next? And he's like, you'll know. And we see him save the one person and realize, oh, I can save another. And like he goes off and he does it. I was like, okay, that was like a genuinely good superhero moment, like a good way to show us that character's new to this, and like, okay, how do you train somebody to be a superhero? What do you tell them? And sort of that instruction and that whole thing played off really, really well.
And a good moment to show that like why Batman would be the one bringing the team together.
Right.
Like he's like their little league coach or something. Like he's been there before. And if he had had that moment with Aquaman, I think that would have made like everything would have been just a little bit more cohesive, because Aquaman especially feels like he's just off there by himself to me.
I also liked the Flash's CGI was the only CGI I liked in this movie. Like the lightning was cool and they'd slow it down. Like that looked cool to me, but like everything else looked fake or terrifying. Like
all of Aquaman stuff was not
was
not
and
good.
Steppenwolf just looked like a video game like character. He didn't look like a real person, and but the Flash stuff looked really cool.
Yeah, the Flash stuff did all look really cool, and including, again, this is another on the short list of jokes that worked for me, the visual gags of him and Superman like making eye contact. The rest of that scene is terrible. It's surrounded by garbage, but that moment, great. I love it.
And as a lover of horror films, I thought this could have been a really cool, scary moment. Like, what if Steppenwolf had done that and he's going around like, shit, this guy can follow me. Like, oh no, my superpower is less of a power. But it didn't quite. I mean, it showed us that Superman can do that, which was scary. But I thought it was interesting that could have played up for more, maybe, but that might be my horror movie love coming through. Make it creepier.
It definitely was not great to look at, especially once again in my living room on this baby screen. The CGI was, and there was so much of it. There was so much CGI, like that we didn't have those moments of like, I feel like we're in a real place ever. And maybe that's why the like Wonder Woman scene felt like I actually felt tense, because it was like a building with actual people, and the bad guy had a real gun, you know, that we could see. Like, it was rooted in stuff, whereas everything else just felt so fake and looked pretty bad. So I was like, whatever, just take the earth, it's fine.
Just take it.
Even the place they set the last battle was like a really weird choice to set it somewhere out in the middle of nowhere where there weren't really any stakes, and like they explain what it is in one sentence, and I don't understand that decision at all either, to not just have it be a metropolis again or something.
You answered your question right there, though. Is that like they could explain what it is in one sentence? And
yeah,
like,
I guess
that's
so.
That's the point. Like that's they were like,
couldn't they have
sure.
been like in a nuclear power plant outside of Smallville or something instead of somewhere?
I don't know, but the choice to randomly include this Russian family and keep checking in with them, like, remember, they're under the table, and I'm like, I remember. It did not have the effect that I think that they were going for.
It made the bad guy seem really incompetent because they couldn't break into these people's house in like a week and kill these people.
And if you really have to go to showing us a random family with 2 children to up the stakes, like, I think you failed as a movie at that point, especially a movie that is like bringing together a team of superheroes where the big bad is like trying to like terraform the world with evil, and you have to go, but remember, a family. Like, I feel like your storytelling took like a wrong turn at some point.
Also, I thought they were the only ones left, but then Superman saves an entire building, so there were clearly other people around that we just ignored for some reason.
Even when he's saving the other building of people, you don't see the people in that building. He's just saving a building.
Yeah, he's just like, ooh, I can pick up a building.
Yeah.
I will say, to kind of bring us down here, because I don't even know who the actor is who voiced Steppenwolf is. I apologize, but the villain was so bad in this, and it's another thing that I think DCEU struggles with is its villains. But in this one, I actually, like, when I was looking stuff up afterwards just to kind of get my bearings and everything, I saw that like the mother boxes and Steppenwolf are like things from the comic, and like I read an explanation of what the mother boxes actually are. I can't remember, don't ask me, but it's out there. It's information that exists, and they all have like they are something, and they have like a backstory, and we don't really get much of anything of that. They just are like, here are 3 boxes and you put them together, and this guy is
which is not even close to what they are in the books. They're like cell phones. They're like in the 60s, these aliens just had like cell phones, and that's what the mother boxes were basically.
And then he keeps calling the mother boxes mother, like mother, and I'm like, what? What? Is there someone in there?
Yes, I was also extremely confused.
I thought he was calling the Amazon Queen Mother at first, so I was really confused for a while.
It's very, are you my mommy?
Yes. That's what he spent all the scenes we didn't see him. He was just going up to random boxes going, are you my mother?
Did they explain why it took him so long to go back to Earth and get the boxes? He was there when it happened. Why didn't he know where they were?
Because humanity had to be so upset, which they were because of Superman. There's there's one line of dialogue when he's talking to the box that is his mom. I don't know. When he's I'm not, again, not clear. Mother, whatever.
Okay.
He's like, he has this line that's like, now I understand why it took you so long to summon me. The humans are now, I don't know, whatever.
There's a turmoil threshold that the world has to be
Yes,
at.
the turmoil threshold.
So Lex Luthor didn't call him, because that's what I thought happened.
No.
At the end, Lex Luthor's like, the bell has been rung, blah, blah, blah. And I thought he like did something on the spaceship car.
It does show Steppenwolf, and the second time I saw Batman, this time when I saw Batman vs. Superman, it made more sense. I think he was just looking at Wikipedia basically in the spaceship, and I think he saw Steppenwolf as just a projection of like, this is what's going on in space right now. And somehow knew from that like there was bigger bad stuff out there that was coming. I don't think I thought the first time I saw it that he had done it on purpose too, but I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I think the mom boxes were calling the shots here.
Well, we didn't talk about that character, but maybe we should.
We also didn't talk about Aquaman. I don't really have anything to say about
Jason
him.
Momoa was there
We
too.
didn't talk about Aquaman. Oh my god, I legitimately forgot about him, and I love Jason Momoa. So
It's not your fault, Mari.
I do feel really bad for him because it is like making things look cool underwater. I feel like is a big ask. To like swim cool is very hard. To look like, and he looks like he has little bubbles shooting out of his butt, shooting him along. It's not good. Or like to before they have a conversation, they have to like make a big sphere around them so they aren't just going blah 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 blah. It's tough. And he does okay at it. He does a pretty good Thor impression, like, and that works for that.
The same. Like he did as much as he could with what he was given.
Mm-hmm.
Cast well. I think he's got like a good look for you know, the Thor stand-in in this world. Like that. Yes, that all fits on my short list of things of like moments that I was like, that was nice. That was fine. Him. I know you didn't like it, Sam, but him sitting on the lasso of truth, because there were so many moments that were out of character for other characters that when that happened, I was like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
So when it actually had a reason, I was like, it has a reason. Like
Something had a point.
Yeah.
Was he just sitting on it, or had she secretly put it on him or something?
I thought he was
quite-
just sitting on it, was what I...
Yeah, he sat on it by accident.
She just left it sitting on the Batmobile.
Yeah, she's like, rest that there.
Whatever.
In case someone sits there, it's gonna be great.
Wonder Woman does pranks.
It's like her whoopee cushion, but it's the last of truth. I had no idea of his personality, like except I knew he drank a lot and was like kind of surly, and which was like exactly Batman Superman from the last movie. So it was like another grumpy guy. Yeah, like I wanted to like him, but I just didn't know him very well.
Well, we're gonna get to watch all about him soon, so
Yep.
then maybe
Yay.
we'll.
That's-
Maybe
Has
we'll
anyone
like him.
seen that movie?
No,
I have
I'm
not.
terrified of that movie.
Nobody has seen it. I'm so excited because nobody has seen it. I'm like so
Yes,
excited now.
yes.
Have you seen it?
No.
No.
Oh my. Okay.
All first
Great.
reactions.
That is gonna be exciting.
Yeah, Jason Momoa also, I enjoy looking at Jason Momoa. So that's also on the list of things that is good about Aquaman. Zombie Superman, we sort of glossed over this. Bad. However, he was shirtless for a really long time. So
Yep, that was okay.
His
Yep.
pants are kind of silly though.
the pants were so silly.
were-
I also noticed, I like mentally clocked, those are silly pants.
Okay, wait. Also, the line where she was like, "You smell good," and he's like,
What was that?
Do I not usually?"
It was so weird.
Anyone know what that was?
I think it was just a Joss Whedon joke that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, you smell good now that you've been dead for a really long time.
Yeah,
But you
and then you
smell
went in some-
really
Maybe that's what it was.
Weird old water.
Ew.
It was like a healing bath.
What if she said, "You smell gross"?
It would have been funny if she said, "You smell gross." Like that would have made sense.
Mm-hmm.
If she had hugged him and been like, "I love you, but you stink," that would have been at least something, instead of just really confusing.
I'm sorry, I distracted us from shirtless Henry Cavill and
Maybe-
shirtless Jason Momoa.
No, I was just trying to. That's my short list of things that were good. That's it. Now I'm done.
Yes.
All I could think was maybe he was supposed to be like he smells like a newborn baby or something. Like that was that they were trying to do.
Okay, that's a little bit better than zombie.
Well,
Yeah.
she flew with him when he was zombified, and then he had just changed. So maybe he had smelled bad while they were flying, and now he's
now
got
she's
his
like-
old shirt on.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Positive reinforcement. You smell
Right.
good now.
Oh, I love this shirt.
Well, in that case, you would think he was like, "Oh man, did I stink before?" But he's like, "Do I not smell good usually?" I don't know, bro. You've been dead. Like,
Did this make you excited for the Snyder Cut? I'm kind of pumped for it now.
I don't know that I'm particularly excited for the Snyder Cut itself, but I am very excited about how I'm going to talk to you. And this is a totally organic and natural transition into a promoting of a thing, which is that, so we are recording this like a month before the Snyder Cut, but it should be hitting your podcast feed a couple days before. And so if you are listening to this episode, in the week that it goes live, we are doing a live show in which we will reconvene to discuss, anything we forgot to say about this movie and share all of our feelings about the Snyder Cut on Saturday, March 20th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time over on the Snark Squad YouTube channel, youtube.com/SnarkSquad. So you can come and join us and hear, I don't know. What are you guys expecting?
I'm so excited. I think it's going to be completely different. I think it's going to be I think this movie had a lot of leftover economic crisis threads that are going to be really disgustingly tied into the rest to the Snyder Cut. It'll be completely over the top, and I think the bad guys will be economic anxiety made real kind of thing. That's what I'm guessing. And the Joker's going to be there. So,
yeah, there were the hints of that stuff where it's in the beginning, the hate crimes because Superman is gone. And you can't wait to at the end be hate crimes are gone or whatever.
Yeah.
And
over, crimes are gone.
There's nothing. Yeah. There's no war or hate crime in this universe anymore.
Yeah, and I expect that not that the humor worked particularly well in this movie, but I expect that it's going to be none of it.
Yes, it'll be gone for sure.
Yeah, it will be absolutely gone.
Every bit of humor will be lovingly trimmed away.
Those are my expectations.
I'm trepidatious about the 4-hour runtime.
Oh, come on.
I hadn't heard. I didn't know. This is the first I'm hearing about that.
Yeah. But, I am curious about it because having watched, those other 4 before, and this one just so didn't fit that I am curious how sort of fitting that final peg in the hole, how that will sort of do for the series, the universe overall. That I'm excited about. I don't really care about Joker. Okay.
But it's gonna be so funny when he shows up.
That's the comedy we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just also the history of this and it being so bad that that they went back and were no, reshoot. And then they went back and they were no, reshoot. And then they went back and they're you're fired. Yeah. So that is not a good history for me to be oh, this would be so much better. I don't know, probably not.
It's an unprecedented event in film history.
So just to be clear here, he wasn't fired. He left because his daughter died while they were shooting the movie. This movie did have extenuating circumstances that contributed to it being the Frankenstein nightmare of a movie that it is, but
its predecessors are Batman versus
Superman, but
Suicide Squad.
Yes.
So,
and then also to go Snyder had to step away and they were I know Joss Whedon just
who totally makes sense with the story we've been telling? Joss Whedon. One of the things that is just so consistently infuriating about all of these movies is all of the ways in which their badness so clearly stems from really obvious cash grabby decisions where you're just none of this had anything to do with trying to make something that was good. It was just this weird oh, here's what we'll sell. It feels assembled by a marketing team. The entire DCEU feels much more assembled by a marketing team than by filmmakers. Any filmmakers feel incidental. They may have periodically been in the room, but otherwise it is all a marketing team.
Yeah. Do you think Joss Whedon was a grab? Because was this after he'd done some Marvel stuff? So maybe they thought, this'll do it.
That is 100% why this happened. Yes, for sure. And also, and because some of the criticism of the first couple things is oh, this is way too dark. And so they're oh yeah, we'll have him come and make it funny. And that's part of why all of the jokes don't feel they don't fit. They don't go here. They're fine, but they're clearly for an Avengers movie. They don't go in this one.
Everything that we've really talked about, even from down to the look of it and the fact that there were so many reshoots, and I was reading about the budget and how there's even competing stories or information about how much we didn't actually like rewrote and all of that. But if you consider the amount of budget that went into the rewrite and reshoots, it's such a small portion of it for how much it affected the movie. And so like everything is off just because of the way that this was assembled. And that's not even touching on the fact that we've got like these stories and allegations that Whedon was a dick on set. So the bad vibes that you feel, like they're real. They're real.
Yes, they're like emanating from this movie.
I don't expect it to be good, but I think it will at least bookend the other ones in a way that this one did not.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Sure.
This one did give me a weird fondness for the rest of the movies we've watched so
Stop.
far.
Yeah. That's Stockholm Syndrome.
That's
You need to stop.
I recognize
Maybe.
that.
But I don't know.
It is pretty.
I kind of missed my old bad friends. I didn't like my new bad friends.
And on that note, that brings us to the end of another episode. Thank you to Sam and Jess for joining us this week, and thank you all for listening. We'd love to hear all of your thoughts on Justice League. We say that every week, and we definitely do want to hear all of your thoughts on these things, but I'm like deeply interested on all of the like opinions on Justice League and the DCEU. So come and chat with us about that. There will be a post dedicated to this episode up on SnarkSquad.com, and you can also find us on Twitter at Snark_squad. You can find me at My Name is Marines.
I am at Sweeney Says.
I am at Slam Schultz.
And I am at Antician.
This podcast is produced by the Snark Squad, and it is edited by Nicole Sweeney. The theme music that is playing us out right now is by Stephen Chen.